Hello, welcome back to SC Classics. Just kidding. Oh, welcome back. It's sadly it's another E36 video. I know you Ford guys are gonna hate this, but I promise normal Ford stuff will resume very soon. But for the time being, I just need to get this E36 done and out the doors and carry on with what I normally do. As you can see, Fords everywhere. So bear with me, it'll be back. But thank you to all the new subscribers. This past day or two, I've picked up 100 new subscribers. So thank you, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy the content. So back to it with the E36 M3. And I've got it all welded in. Now I was making sure to spread the weld, so run over here, then I run over here, and just spreading it around just so I didn't get too much heat in and warp the flat panel. So thankfully it seems to have worked. Get it all ground down, seam sealer, paint, and then onto the next repair. And I'm not sure where to start, whether to do the drop sill, the rear corner drop sill, whatever you call it, in an arch. The problem is I don't know what I'm making or where it's meant to go because there's that much of it missing. And the only way to really tell is put the sill on. I can't put the sill on because I need to chop out some of this because there's many layers in here that need to be removed, and also I need to chop out part of the A-post. So I don't know which way to go, front or back. Anyway, I'll do some digging, get into it. First of all, I'll get this all ground down, finish off the floor section, get it all cleaned up. Still some surface rust to get off, get all that off, and get some red lead over it and some seam sealer, seal it up for good. And oh no, actually, I'm not done in here because the seat cross member has to go back in. Once I've get all this cleaned up, get the seat cross member back in, put the floor bung back in, move on to the next part. We've got an inner sill and floor. I welded in, give it a quick grind down. I'm not going wild on it because it's going to get sand pads over, bitumen pads over it anyway. Just got to clean the floor bung up, put that in, some seam sealer. That's the floor done. Before I went any further, I tried the door on, make sure that was still closing good. Happy with that. Now put a brace in because next job is going to be removing some structure on the front here, and I don't want things to move around. I'll show you why. Because really this is having a sill, but the new sill is here. It's genuine BMW. And it comes with all the jacking points, the full rear jacking point and the front. Now this car needs both jacking points, as you can see. Now the problem I've got is the jacking point is seam welded around the inside, and we can show you it's seam welded around the outside as well. So really I don't want to be splitting that jacking point. So the only real place I can cut is further up the A-post. I can't fit the full A-post because there's all kind of structures. One, the windscreen needs to come out, the A-post comes to here, and then there's all this structure which would have to be removed. So I'll be removing a lot of structure from the car just to fit the full A-post. So my thinking is cut it here where it's single skin and join it in there. You'll only see the join, you know, this much of the join. It's going to be in the door shut anyway. So I think that is going to be the safest place to join it because that's actually the top door hinge, bottom door hinge. And as you can see, the jacking point is all spot welded, even around the hinge. So it makes it virtually impossible to unpick and put back in. So I think the safest place is to cut across here. So what I don't want to do is cut it and then lose the door hinge dimensions. So the new A-post comes with these hinge pieces on, so what I'm going to do is make a brace that goes between these two, these bolts in, they're nice and solid. I'm going to make a brace that goes between these two, so when I take the 10mm bolts out, I can lift the brace out. And then when I'm happy with the new A-post, half A-post, I can put the jig back in, and I know they're in the exact same place as they should be in order for the door to line up. So I'm going to make this jig for here, and then the next thing is this structure. Part of this structure has to be removed. So some spot welds here, some spot welds here. I'm not going to remove the full structure because, as you can see, it's stitch welded in. It goes underneath this panel. There's a lot to remove. So I'm going to just drill out spot welds and cut it, say halfway up, get this structure out of the way, and that'll give me access to all the spot welds back here on the A-post and down here. And then once I chop it, bottom half of the A-post, jacking points, everything should come out in one. Fingers crossed, but we'll see. Hence why I put the brace in, because I don't want things to move around now. And then the back end, before I can put the sill on, I need to remake all this bottom part, but the problem is there's that much of it missing. I don't know what the shape should be. Hence why I am getting rid of this structure so I can trial fit the sill up, and then I can start making this drop sill inner arch area. But I want to get the sill just clamped into place so I know what this structure should be at the back before I go any further forward. So next is make my jig and remove some of this structure. Made a little brace just to go between the two hinges. This is just to set height of this one. It's a genuine BMW sill, so all these, it's all going to line up. It's basically just to keep the height between these two hinges correct. So this is a nice tight fit to the point. You know, it needs knocking off the. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to remove that now. I've removed this structure from this piece of structure from here. Just cut it straight across there, drill the spot welds out, got this out of the way. Now I can access spot welds down the A-post on both sides, and then get this structure out of the way. So you can see all the jacking points. Bottom of the A-post sill, inner sill area is showing some signs of rust and holes. So get these drilled out. Get me jig off first. Get these drilled out and get this structure. I'll probably just cut it right above the hinge for the time being, and then when I'm happy with the sill, I'll scribe it and cut it in the correct place. So fast forward a few steps, and we've got the jacking point structure all removed. That was all up here, and got the sill cut down on the A-post. I've done all this. I've just been wire wheeling some of the rubberized sealer off underneath. Trial fitted it up, scribed it, cut the A-post. I'm happy with that now. It was simply because I need to fix this structure at the back, and I also need to fix this structure, which doesn't look that bad until you get underneath. So this panel should, what I've cut out was rotten. Drop my phone, very unprofessional. Should actually carry on through and join up with the end of it, and then the wing actually fixes to this panel. It doesn't look too bad. It's just simply spot welds to here, but also you can see this lip's getting a bit thin in places. It's actually gone there. So this floor structure is going to need some repairs, and when you get underneath, you'll see it's really pitted. You know, on this edge here, you can see it's going through. So I'm going to have to cut a strip out of here, repair the floor, then make this side piece to come through to here, and then as you can see, this structure at the front is just completely rotten. This is meant to cap in and join up with this piece. So all this needs repairing, cutting out, repairing before the outer sill can go on. So I think the next job is cut a strip out the side of this floor, and then make a new piece, weld that in, and then tackle this structure, which is not going to be nice. I've had to actually remove the arch liner on the passenger side just to get an idea of what it should look like, because There's just that little of it. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Got the piece of floor cut out. As you can see, it's got a, ignore that thing's a bit bent, but it should have a bit of a radius at the end of it. And this return lip. So now we have to make a piece. So this. Somehow, some way. Just like that. That ought to do it. Get it welded in. So we got that bottom section in. Not finished grind. I hope I just give it a quick once over. I'll come back to that. So there we go. Floor section, inner sill section. Done. Well, not done. Needs finished grinding and stuff. Stopped grinding because I got, even though I was wearing glasses, I got a piece of metal in my eye and it's bugging me. So I'll just start making this next panel to come across here, and it goes straight down according to the other side. I'm copying off straight across. So that's next. Make that piece. God, this is annoying. Yeah, looks like it might be unless anyone's got a tip on how to get a metal splinter out your eye. Looks like it's a trip to the walk-in. Metal in the eye splinter update. It's gone. I remembered some woman gave me a tip. I'd gone to a petrol station, my eye was all running because I had a splinter in it. And she said her husband was a fabricator. She said get some tissue, rub it across the eye and it'll catch the metal. And it worked. So if you get metal in your eye, use a bit of tissue and rub it across there and it gets it out. Perfect. Feels it. Think it's gone. Happy days. I can carry on working now and don't have to go to hospital. Right, now stop whinging about my eye splinter, metal splinter, whatever you want to call it. So that's what was left of that panel. Not a great deal. So much so that I had to go and copy off the other panel to get some sort of idea where it went. Anyway, made a new one. Put a fold on the end of it again. I think that fold is too long. I could probably trim some off, but we'll get the box section underneath made next. I'll know for sure then. I've drilled it so I can plug weld it all the way along. It's just stuck in place at the minute. I'm going to tack it in place and then get some clamps on the bottom and get it welded in. That's another piece done. And then effectively, that's the kick panel, I think you'd call it, inner sill. That's done for this side. Apart from, there's a box section like an outrigger for the chassis, which is going to need a lot of work, so that's next job after this. Back to it with the M3. Yeah, I can't remember where I filmed up to. I'm going to film that, but I've got this area welded in. I'm going to have to finish grinding that down and tidy that up. I think we're going to have to trim a bit more off the bottom of it. I think it's a bit low, but I'll get into that when I get the car jacked up, because there's a like a chassis outrigger that needs to be repaired or replaced. But anyway, I need to gather some info on that because I'm not entirely sure what shape it should be. Got an idea from the other side, but yeah, I'm just not happy. So I need to gather some more information, and also the wing mounts to that. So I need to get some good pictures, really, see what I'm making for there before I can finish it off. But on the back end, as you can see, I got the DA on it and got rid of all the huge amounts of fiberglass and filler. To reveal that it's had a section of arch put in to here, and then obviously nothing here. So we're going to be fitting a new arch. We're just going to do away with the lot, fit a new arch. It has, what I didn't realise was did warp the quarter slightly, and then everything was filled to smooth it out. Now, to be fair, it was quite deceiving. It looked quite well. I'm just going to have to be careful when fitting the new arch. What I am going to do is I've got a new arch here. It's a Magnum, I think it's Magnum. It's got a Magnum label on it. I'm going to cut off this section here because this is the sill, and as you know, we've got a genuine BMW sill, so there's no point in trying to weld this copy piece over a genuine BMW piece. So we're joining it in there and there's a trim that goes over here anyway to hide it all. And I'm also gonna trim out some of the arch. I'm not gonna fit the arch right up to the trim line. I wanna go just above the arch and then joggle it and fit it. Well, that's what I'm gonna do next, because the reason I'm going onto the arch now without finishing all the sill area is gathering info on the front before I continue with that. Before I can put the sill on for good, I need to address this damage down here. It's just a shaky camera, I'm not using my gimbal. I need to address this inner arch, this big plate which is coming off, so there's going to be a repair there, and also obviously there's a big repair to the inner arch. Before I can do any of that, I need to remove the outer arch just to gain access to the inner. So I want to trim the arch down, cleco it into place, scribe, mark it out, and cut out the arch, so I know whether to, well, once I've cut it out, then I can access the inner arch and carry on with the repairs. So that's what I'm going to do next. Get that out of the way. Trim the arch out. Trimmed off quite a bit of material because we didn't really, the new arch come all the way up to this trim line here, which we really don't need. We're way past any rust, we're up to good metal, and I didn't want to do it here because this is a nice flat sheet and there's more chance of warping. So stay away from that, keep it as close to the arch as possible, put in as little as you need to. This should, providing I can get the jogglers in there, I can joggle this edge and it'll fit nice and flush. Got some clecos holding it in place. Trial fitted the sill, again, just making sure everything still lines up, and I'm quite happy with the way it lines up. The reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to get the arch in the right place before I chop the original arch off and lose all my data, all the original contours if you like. So now I know it sits where it's meant to sit. I can cut the original arch off and reveal the inner arch, and I can make a start on repairing that. For the time being, looking good. Got my jig in place on the front hinges, holding everything in place there. Still meets up nice. Quite pleased. Happy days. I can now remove the sill again, get the clecos out and get the rear arch off, and then cut off the rusty outer arch. Start doing some repairs. Well, that's a little worse than I was expecting. I'm not quite sure what this green stuff is. I think it's body filler, or I think it's fiberglass. But anyway, yeah, it actually goes up quite far, sadly. In fact, that section there is a cut. This is a piece that's been put in before by the looks of it. I'm going to have to get it jacked up, get the wheel off, start assessing it from the other side too, see just how far back it goes. This is going to be a really hard piece to make, really hard. I was hoping it didn't go that far up. But basically from here, from this point down here, on the sill, all the way around there, is knackered. That's not good. And ideally, I could do with getting more of the arch off to get to it. Well, that's not possible. This is turned out to be a little trickier, a little worse than I first anticipated. I'm not phased, I'll do it. There's no other option, it's got to be done. But yeah, it's definitely a lot crustier than I thought it'd be under there. So I've come back for the night shift. I'm going to try and tackle this lower corner, which sadly I'm not going to be able to do in one piece because it's just too intricate. There's too much. There's no possible way I'm going to be able to make all this area as well in one. I just haven't got the tooling for it, the skill set, and I know my limitations, so sadly I'll have to do it in minimum of 2. So this piece across the bottom, and then this piece from up here down. This panel actually splits here, so technically from here to say here, I'll have to make in 1. There might have to be a 3rd repair for that. We'll see how we get on. But first of all, I'm tackling this bottom piece, which that's what's left of it. So I've chopped it off, got it back to good metal, and I'm assuming there's not much left of it. This actually fits. This is the back, the inside of the rear sill, and this actually fits to here. We can get the camera, but it should be quite a bit longer. I'm not quite sure how much longer just yet, but I'm assuming it should have some sort of return lip as well to fix it to this sill. So what I'm going to have to do is make this panel quite a bit bigger with the return lip on it, the curves, etc., and then chop it down to suit, because it's a tough thing to measure when the sills, you need the sill on the car and you can't actually access it. Although I could, now that this is cut out, I might be able to access it. I'll try and fit the sill and get some sort of idea. But yeah, I am going to make, I've got to turn this 20 by 5 inch sheet into this, or what this should have been originally. What I know is that's the shape off the bottom of the sill, that's the sill edge, and that's the bottom lip, so the radius is. So I'm going to need a shrinker stretcher and make that. Sill assembly trial fitted again, so I could measure up, get an idea of what this panel should be from the cut line down to the outer sill edge, which is, I think at the front it was 85, at the back it was 80, but I've cut it a little bit. This plate, I think I've cut it at 105 mil, and I put a 15 mil return on it. And then there's going to be a 15 mil return edge on this side, because this needs to weld to the sill and this needs to weld to the back edge of the sill too. So next job, this line here, look at this. This is what I need to make. I know it's hard to see. So basically the panel kicks up and then kicks back in again. So I need to shrink this area to get this panel to pull up, and then a little bit further along I'll need to stretch it to get it to pull back again. I'll show you what I'm going to use for that. It isn't mine, I've just had to borrow it, but thankfully my good mate Jeff Turton is a few units down from me, and I've got a spare key to his unit, and he has all the tools and equipment that I could ever need. Oh, I also use these folder to put a nice 90 on that as well. Maybe a little bit more than a 90. No, perfect that end. So yeah, that's a 90. I'm going to put a 90 on that in there. I'm going to get the shrinker stretcher on it and start pulling it into this shape. We shall see. So a little progress update. We've made this, the shrinker stretcher, which now fits. Made it to fit the profile of the sill, so it'll spot weld into the bottom of the sill nicely. You can see it there. It won't fit in because we've got to trim this back edge off yet, but generally it's not a bad fit. Still a bit more tweaking to do, but here lies the problem. So it fits the sill nice, but it turns out the sill, that them two radiuses on the sill are actually not the same up here. As you can see, not too bad there, and it kicks out right here. So I'm going to need to do a lot more work with that. That's a job for tomorrow because it's late and I'm tired. I'm going home. So that's the update for tonight. Bit more beating to do with that. Get it to fit into there, tack it in place, trial fit the sill, make sure I'm happy with it. Oh, trim it down and put a return on the end of it and weld it in place. And there we have it. We have a lower rear corner in place. Next up, I have to address, first of all, remove this big steel plate, so that's not meant to be there. There's actually meant to be a panel join across here. And then what I'm going to do is work on this panel up to this edge, where the panel edge is meant to end, address this rust here, and then concentrate on the inner arch area. Pretty much not far off ready to fit the sill finally, which will be made up with because I must have trial fitted the thing at least 100 times, just trying to make sure everything fits and lines up. There's just some edges to clean up. Once this is addressed, clean some edges up, drill some holes for plug welding. I need to drill some holes in this area here because it plug welds through the body to the jacking point structure here. And again, these need opening up because these plug weld to these tabs here. We have to run a weld down the back of the hinge onto here. Yeah, we're getting very close to finally getting that sill on, which is a big milestone. Well, got that big thick plate removed, which was hanging on by about 10 tack welds, as you can see. So this panel should continue across the top to this edge, then obviously down and meet up with this one. So I'm going to have to cut this off, remake this section and do these little, cut this out of here, get rid of this. I'd like to do it in one, but I just haven't got the tooling or skill set to make all that and all them curves and whatnot in one piece. And also these lines, I'm not sure if they're original or whether they're from the accident damage because they're all over the place. But yeah, it's not. We're getting in some nasty repairs now. Managed to get the bottom together, which is good, but we need to do this to complete this panel essentially, and then we're on to the inner arch, which for the most part doesn't exist. You can see up there, it's pretty bad. There's lots of silicon seal, tiger seal, yeah. But let's concentrate on one thing at a time. Let's get this done, get cutting. That's what was there. That's what's there now. Just cut a little 50x50 square to cut the bottom corner off it to suit this. Scribe ground it, cut it out, weld a new one, ground it, and that'll do. That's that piece. And now we need to concentrate on this piece coming up the side. And I'm just about to run out of gas for the MIG welder, so that might be the end of play for today, sadly. I can get this panel made up and possibly tacked in, but I don't think I'll have enough gas left to weld it up, so that might be it for this week. Being as it's Friday, tomorrow's going to be a day of cleaning, I'm afraid, because I've made a right old mess. So that could be it for this week. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. Right then, just a little update of where we're up to this week. We got the floor all seam welded in, painted. That area at the back's done. We got this area at the bottom fabricated, welded in, ground down. Still got to put some paint over it yet, but for the time being there's no point because obviously it still needs to weld in. So I'll put some zinc copper weld-free primer underneath that and then weld a new sill in. I fabricated, you can't see it because the sill's in place, but I fabricated these bottom lip across the bottom, which was a tricky bit because when you're fabricating it, you need to be able to see it. You can't see it because the sill covers it. But anyway, that's fabricated. Made that, chopped out the rear arch this week to reveal an inner arch which is a mess and is going to be tricky to build, but I need to soldier on and get on with it. It also revealed some nasties behind here. So what I've got to do, my next job before this sill can go on, is I need to finish off this bottom section down here, and then finally the sill can be welded in place. It's all clecoed in place now. I must have trial fitted this easily 50 times whilst doing various repairs, you know, this area down here, the floors, etc. Mainly on this back. The other night I must have had this sill on 15-20 times. So thankfully I've got the clecos holding it in place, which does speed things up. But now everything's lining up nice. I've just got this, like I say, just this repair section down here behind this panel. Once that's done, the sill can go in, this strengthener can go back in, and that'll be that area finished. I do have this outrigger underneath to repair. It doesn't look that bad from this side, but there's no bottom in it at all, so that needs to be fabricated from scratch. And wing mount, because the wing comes down, there's 2 bolts mounted here. Sadly, due to the wing being rotten, I can't even make a wing mount just yet because there's not much of the wing left at the bottom to make a wing mount off. The rear arch I've cut out, clecoed in place. I'm happy with the position, but obviously the inner arch needs to be repaired before I can even contemplate putting the outer arch on. And then to finish it off, there's this section at the back which I cut out when I was doing the boot floor, but it also revealed that in the boot, if I can get to it, you can see it, this rust here is actually the top of this panel. This is on this. The problem I've got is the rear quarter fixes to it when my gimbal wakes up and follows me around. This rear quarter lips down on a 90 and fixes to the top of this panel. Now sadly this panel up here is knackered, rotten. So in order to access that, the bottom of this rear quarter has to come off. This is going to be a tricky job, but needs must. It's the only way to repair it. So that'll be for next week now, because I've been on this. I've had a couple of days off it this week. I had a couple of other jobs to do, so I've not had as much time this week on it. But yeah, I'll be back to it next week and hopefully wrap this job up and get back to some classic Fords. So yeah, that's the M3 update for this week. Right. So that's it for this update. Thanks for watching. There should be the final update on this car next week, all being well. If anyone has a driver's side E36 coupe, not a reproduction one, the original E36 coupe, driver's side wing in good condition, please get in touch. I'm looking for one. Again, if someone's cutting up or breaking an E36 coupe or convertible, I could really do with an offcut of the inner rear arch section for the driver's side, because that would speed this job up massively instead of having to fabricate parts from scratch. So if you've got anything, or you know someone who has, and you're in the UK, even I'm willing to travel, obviously not to the other end of the country. It'd be quicker just to make a panel from scratch. But if you know someone who's got something that might be able to help, please comment below. It might help, might speed things up. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, please like, share, subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe, because it helps. I'll see you in the next video.